And then I sliced the top off of my toe.
Charlie, Gina, she slid into my DMs. 4 years later, we're still annoying each other on the daily. Or at least that's what the police report says.
But Chloe, can Alex get your bra off?
Well, that's killed the mood, hasn't it?
Well, if I see stairs, I'm fucked.
Oh, you know, if there's a fire, he can't run, can he?
If this gets us cancelled, I'm sorry. I didn't come in this community feeling particularly accepted.
Today's guests, Alex McKenzie and Chloe Webley, are content creators and better known as Sticks and Copper. They are a interabled couple, and it was a great conversation to have today, particularly surrounding some of the similarities between their relationship and mine and Gina's relationship, as well as Alex's current journey on accepting his disability. I really do hope you enjoy this episode, so please sit back, relax, and enjoy. Welcome to the Not Quite Podcast. I'm Charlie Randall. Let's get ready to rewrite the rulebook. Welcome back to the Not Quite Pod. We've got a bit of a different episode today. We've got Gina sitting in with me, and then we've also got Alex and Chloe, better known as Sticks and Copper. How are you guys?
We're great, Tom, mate. How are you both?
I'm good, full of cold, and seem like I'm ill all the time, but I'm battling through.
I'm tired. Like today, so for the listeners, it's Bank Holiday Monday, but it just feels like a normal Monday. I feel really like can't be arsed today.
I know.
So
it's one of those days.
Let's get this energy up with the podcast.
It's all right. We'll make each other laugh. It'll be fine.
We're gonna vibe and it'll be fine. We'll get some
Vibing.
Yeah.
We'll finish this and we'll be ready to go out for the day.
Yeah.
Oh dear. So how did you guys meet?
Chloe, do you want me to be my usual annoying self with this one, or do you want to tell the story?
You usually do, silly.
Charlie, Gina, she slid into my DMs.
Fair play.
Straight in the ground, weren't you? Didn't muck about.
No, we basically started following each other and then we didn't talk for ages, and then Alex put a story up and I just like replied to it, didn't I? And then from that moment, literally, as cliche as it is, but we literally didn't stop talking. So
4 years later, we're still annoying each other on the daily.
So what I'm hearing is she basically stalked you and then decided, actually, I'll ask a question.
I wouldn't say stalked. I'd say observe.
Observed from a distance.
Or at least that's what the police report says. No, she is my right-hand woman. I wouldn't be without her. We're insufferable. Well, and it's
insufferable.
Isn't it? We wear matching outfits occasionally too. We were in matching outfits yesterday. So
I hate to admit it, so do we.
Yeah.
I forced him.
Yeah, literally. My brother came round and he was like, what is going on? And I was like, do you like it? He went, no, that's awful. I was like, I'm glad.
Oh, I'm intrigued though. Is it the same situation that I have of basically, because it takes me like 10 minutes to pick out my clothes, whereas if I said to Gina, can you grab me some clothes? It takes her the whole of 2 seconds. So that then ensues us wearing the same outfits.
Basically, yeah.
To be fair, I do say to him, what do you want to wear? And he'll be like, oh, I don't mind, so I just pick what I want him to wear.
Well, you dress better than I do.
Exactly. we have a few gym clothes that are like not identical but the same, like same colours or whatever. So quite often we'll go to the gym in like matching gym outfits.
Yeah.
And then if we're going out, I always try and match our colours up.
Yeah, that's what I do. I always like colour coordinate. Just so we, even if it's like not the same, like we have a few like jumpers and that are the same. But even if it's not, like we try to wear the same colour or like
colour. Yeah.
Charlie,
Are they?
Yeah, I think that's the normal thing to do, isn't it?
Are we weird, Chloe?
Although you're definitely more into your bright colours than I am.
Yeah.
You love a bit of a bright green or a bright yellow. I'm like, no, give me that dark blue, khaki, black.
Yeah.
I'm not a bright colour guy.
I'm sorry. The only thing I can now think about is you two in matching like leggings doing squats, and I can't get that out of my head.
Oh, how funny.
I have like maroon leggings, and he has pretty much the same, but in joggers. So pretty much matching.
You know what they say, those who match, you know.
What do they say? I
don't
don't know.
know.
Yeah, what do they say?
Chloe's just making herself feel better.
Yeah.
I'm making it up as I go along.
Oh, we all. Oh dear. So, Alex, me and you, if I remember rightly, me and you got the same disability. Is that right?
Cerebral palsy.
Yep. Hit the nail on the head. Let me guess. Quadriplegia or diaplegia?
Diaplegia, because I've learned it since we last talked.
Yay!
Yeah.
So how does it affect you, like, day to day? Obviously, everyone's different. Everyone has different reactions. Reactions to it's the wrong word, but you know what I mean. How does it sort of affect you day to day?
Well, if I see stairs, I'm fucked. No, in all honesty, it's more of a balance thing. I've got no balance, no centre of gravity. And my legs, technically, are fully functional. Like,
Yeah.
Chloe says to me all the time that I'm not allowed to take the mick out my legs because, technically, they are normal. It's my brain that doesn't like the legs. Other than that, though, I seem to be alright.
Yeah, I mean, some like dexterity things as well, like fine motor
Yeah.
skills. But that's just. Yeah.
Yeah.
Don't get me to tie laces. Don't ask me to do anything with fine movements. Like whenever I got something where like you have to do it in a straight line, don't ask me to do that.
I'm going to jump in with a juicy question already. But Chloe, can Alex get your bra off? Can he undo your bra?
You can,
That's a decent attempt.
but it's.
The nice thing is, I'm completely with you. I'm the exact same.
And like to the point, sometimes I'm just like, just want me to sit.
Yeah, literally. I'm like,
Yeah, just sit there waiting. Like, no, he does do it. He can do it now, but it did take a little practice.
yeah, same. He literally looks at it like it's Fort Knox, and I'm like, all you have to do is slide and undo.
But like with my one, like I've got two like pins on one of them, and he's like, "Well, I've done one. Why is the other one not coming off?"
I'm there. I'm right there. And it also depends on the bra. Some bras are easier than others.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I mean, minutes in and we're already making tits of ourselves.
But
The bad dad jokes have already come out.
But it is such a mood killer. Like, that's the worst thing about the whole thing. It's like, don't mind me, I'm still trying.
It's alright, you just sit there and think, yeah, it's alright, it will happen in a minute.
Yeah.
The worst thing is to sit there going, start questioning why am I here?
Oh, that's it.
But
Well, you know, usually the questions are like, so what do you have to do? Like, how is your relationship unbalanced by him being disabled? And I'm like, no. The real question is, we both know those dexterity struggles.
Yeah.
look, I can't help it. Or the involuntary spasms. We need to, like, those ones are just a pain in the ass. Like, they'll happen at the worst times.
One time, we were laying in bed.
I don't even know what she's going to say, I'm scared.
And we were kind of getting a bit physical, if you want to say that. Alex rolled one way. Somehow, like completely, I think I don't even know how it happened. On the end of the bed, like when I'm at his, I normally keep my suitcase there, and I normally like sort it out, but I hadn't sorted it out, so it was just open at the end of the bed. And Alex somehow, all of a sudden, just like flipped backwards wrong, and stuff in the suitcase. And I was like, "Well, that's killed the mood, hasn't it?" And he was just sat there like a turtle, like. I was like, "Oh gosh."
Where I sit.
Apparently, yeah. It always happens at like the worst moments, doesn't it?
Yeah. No, the common one for us is like, you know, after we've been physical. This is the not quite politically correct podcast, and we're being very politically correct.
Just say it. We were shagging. Just move on.
After,
Yeah.
Charlie will just be sat there really still, and I'm like, "You okay?" He's like, "My leg's gone into spasm." I'm like, "Okay."
Yeah. Or
Glad it's happened now.
Or it's the sudden cramp. That's the worst one. Yeah. The sudden cramp is not the one.
All that adrenaline drops, the leg cramps.
Like, I actually get this cramp in my foot. So I'm like, "You got to massage my foot." This is going well. I'm like, "I need to stop."
Time out.
Pause.
Exactly.
That's fair. Or like talking about muscle spasms though, one of my ones not bedroom related, but one of my ones was I basically used to go around the kitchen all the time barefoot, and I'd basically first time it happened, I dropped something. Because I dropped something, I'd flinched and my foot kicked out, and I'd kicked the bottom of the oven, but it was one of the metal grates.
Oh.
And then I sliced the top off of my toe.
Oh, no, man.
And then it gets worse. It gets so much worse. So then after that, 6 months, it all healed up, all fine. And literally probably about 6 months to the day, I did the exact same thing again.
Ooh.
And at that time, the worst thing is no one was around, and I couldn't stop the bleeding. So I was just bleeding, and I was like, okay, what do I do? Because I'm like stuck in the kitchen. So I'd like willed myself to my wet room and just sat there with my foot in the shower, bleeding out while waiting for Mum to get home.
Oh no! Honestly, Alex always slices his feet, and sometimes he doesn't even realise. And I'm like, "Where's this blood coming from?" And it's literally, he always managed to do it. As at his, he's got an ensuite, and normally he uses the main bathroom, which is like more accessible. But of recent, he's been using this ensuite, which has got quite a big step up. And to get out, it's got like a metal bit for the doors.
Yeah.
And he always, every single time, he's cringing. Every time he seems to slice his toe on it. And I try to lift his foot out of it, like quick enough so he doesn't do it. But like the other day, he was like, "Yeah, no, it's fine. I can do it." And I was like, "Are you sure?" Like, I came back, there's literally blood everywhere. And I was like, "What the hell has happened?" And yeah, he literally sliced his foot open. And he didn't even it. He was like,
the worst thing is, and I can relate to this so much because having spent a lot of time in like the past swimming, whenever you cut yourself in and around water, it looks far worse than it is. Like the amount of times I've got out of a swimming pool and been like, your coaches would be like, "You're bleeding," and I'm like, "Oh yeah, would you look at that? I am bleeding."
But it's because in water it just expands and goes everywhere, and you think, "Oh gosh, it's awful." But
Jaws.
Yeah,
Jaws.
It's just messy. The worst thing is, it just turns into a whole thing, especially if it's in like a leisure centre. It's like, "Oh my god, you've cut your toe! Like, fill out the accident form, do this, do that." And I'm like, I just cut my toe. Like, it's fine. I mean, we were talking about it the other day. We went to a gym near us. Never been there before. Thought, "Oh, we'll try it out." And I fell over in the car park and basically cut my hand open. So I'd gone in and been like, "Do you mind if I borrow a plaster?" And I'm like, "Oh, you can't use a plaster without filling in the accident form." Bear in mind, this cut was tiny. And I'm like, "I just need a plaster. I'll fill in the form." But then it was a whole thing, because then the manager had to come down. Everyone had to come. I'm like, I just need a plaster.
Sign off.
Yeah. It's literally health and safety goes mad.
Yeah.
Health and safety plus disabled people equals Bad idea.
We went to the gym, a different gym, similar story, and it was literally like, for me, I just walked in, and then they were like, oh, no, hang on. We need to fill out this whole form. And I was like, what?
Yeah,
and then
man.
Alex was like, this is normal. And I was like,
completely
Yeah.
normal.
what?
I went to basically all the gyms before I found one that would take me.
That's so bad that would even take you. The thing is, it's like, as you say, it's the health and safety thing. They want to cover their own ass so that if anything happens to you, it's not like neglect from them.
Yeah.
Even though it technically is, like, they're making you sign a form to say, I'm responsible for myself.
Essentially, if you die, you die.
Yeah. Almost don't care. Yeah, it's awful.
Yeah.
But then and
it's the same in hotels. Do you get to a hotel and like you have to explain to them, yes, I'm fine getting him out in a fire. No, I probably would need support, but like, we're going to need the evac chair, and it's like you have to fill out the full form to say how you're going to get out in a fire, and pretty much like basically, can you do it on your own so that we don't have to worry about our staff coming to get you?
I know.
We had one the other week at Travel Lodge near Gina, where the assistant manager, like, he's trying to be too friendly, but then also the phrases he's using, I'm like, oh dear, we need to definitely do some work with you. That's not quite inclusive language or any form of good language, to be fair.
It was like overcompensating. Like, he was being all right with chart, and then he was like, if you get on a plane, we have to tell you that your exits are here, here, and here. So, like, that's all I'm doing now, basically saying, like, we're just making sure before the fact that the safety is in place, kind of thing. But then he turned to me after speaking to Charles, like, knows Charlie is fully capable of communicating, turned to me and went, well, you know, if there's a fire, he can't run, can he? And I was like, what? I was like,
honestly, it leaves you speechless, like, what the fuck's actually just happened?
But then I'm also like, well, you're not incorrect, but...
Why did you need to point that out? We've spoken to you about the things that need to be in place if the fire happens, and yes, we need the evac chair, blah, blah, blah. Like, why do you then need to turn to me and be like, well, he can't run? Well, no, I've just established that.
Yeah.
And then,
I know that one.
Yeah. And the assistant manager, we had another thing with the parking space. So we got there, and literally, there's no disabled parking spaces available, but we noticed that there's someone parked in one without a blue badge. So we've gone into the managers and gone like, who owns this car? Can you get them to move it? And it turns out to be one of the staff members. And then, so I'm like, okay, so you'd gone in and spoken to them, and it just happened that the person you spoke to was the owner of the car.
Yeah, well, that's how we knew it was a staff member. So, like, I went in and he was trying to play it off like, it was a member of staff's car. Like, they're allowed to park there if there's no parking. And I went, well, no, that's not okay because we can't park anywhere else. Go and fucking park somewhere else. Yeah. And I was like, there is parking spaces available, but we can't park in them because we won't be able to get out of the car. I said, at the moment, we're like just parked on the end, which technically there's no like yellow lines or anything. And a few people do it. This hotel, like, the parking's not great. So I was like, we can leave our car there if you want. And he was like, no, it's fine. Like, I'll move the car. So it's clearly his car because then he went and moved it.
I mean, what was even funny was I clocked walking past the car that it had Gucci, like, inserted headrests. And then I clocked that the guy talking to me had a Gucci belt. And I'm like, there's a good chance that it's his car. But then the assistant manager, so I bumped into the assistant manager after the fact, and he was like, oh, how was your evening? Is everything okay? Same guy that's like, oh, yeah, he can't walk. And I'm basically like, well, no, not really, because I've just had to tell one of your members of staff to get out of the same because he didn't have a blue badge. He's like, oh, well, no, he is disabled. He just forgot to bring his badge with him. And I'm like, don't lie to me. Like, if that was the case, the guy would have gone to me, I'm really sorry, mate, I forgot to put my badge up. I have got a blue badge. And I would have gone, fair enough, like, I've done it. And that would have been the end of the conversation. But because he's gone, oh, I'll go move the car, likelihood is he hasn't got a blue badge. So don't try and go, oh, no. Yeah, it's just...
Literally, it was so bizarre. It was so bizarre. But, yeah, to be fair, like, this is a really lame question. But a proper like disability community question. Have you stayed in a Premier Inn? Like, have you stayed in a Premier Inn? You were like literally like, what are you talking about?
I'm waiting for the rest of the question.
Yes, we have.
Yeah,
To be fair, we really only stay in Premier Inn.
we swear by them.
See, this is the thing.
Oh no!
I find that everybody in the disabled community swears by a Premier Inn, but whenever we try and book a Premier Inn, it has a bath, which you can't use. So
No, we always book the wet room of the Premier Inn. So when you go to book, like, you have to specify which one you want.
Yeah, but normally I get there and they go, "Oh, that wasn't available, so we've given you this one." It's like,
They did that to us once, and I literally was like, well, this is no good. Like, I booked a wet room, and because I'd booked it, they were like, we're going to have to move you. Because I was like, he literally cannot get in that bath.
yeah.
Like, it's completely useless. Although last time we went, we could only book we went to Cardiff a couple of weeks ago, and we could only book a bath.
I've got a bath board.
Yeah, we've got a bath board,
like,
which helps. But
I quite like the bath board.
we decided as well, very stupidly, that Alex would actually get in the bath, and that didn't end up very
No.
I don't know
Alex had
what
a
you're on
lovely
about.
time. I just almost broke my back trying to get him back out of his bath.
yeah.
Let me guess. He looks like a stranded seal. Yep.
I bruised my leg where I didn't fall, but like it looked really dodgy anyway. And we explained to our parents, who were like, yeah, we had a lovely time, apart from Alex got stuck in the bath. And then Alex was like, yeah, I had a lovely time though. I was like, yeah, well, good for you, because, you know.
Yeah.
So I was like, we're never booking a bath again. He was like, I really liked it. I was like, well, we're not booking one again. It's not happening.
Also, can we talk about like a really random point? But can we talk about the fact that everyone goes, when they hear like, oh yeah, it's hard for me to get in the bath, they're like, oh, why don't you get one of those ones with the door? Like the door, so you sit in it. And then I'm like, first of all, I'm not Deirdre. Second of all, also, how stupid are they? You sit there and you go, okay, so I'm going to turn on the tap and wait for the thing to fill up.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Like, it's gonna, and then also, do you know what I'm also going to do? I'm going to wait for it to empty so I can get out.
You can get out.
I know, literally, it's so stupid, isn't it? And they don't look nice either. And do people not realise that everything being disabled is so expensive as well?
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Like, it's not even the fact of getting these things, which, okay, a lot of them do look like, you know, your grandma wants it. And they don't look very appealing to, like, young disabled people. They do they?
Yeah, no.
But equally, like, they're expensive.
Yeah.
So it's a bit crazy, isn't it? Yeah, we just use the bath board and we stick with the bath board now.
Yes, and we do indeed swear by Premier Inn.
Yeah, we have.
It looks like we're the outliers.
Yeah, maybe we need to actually
Maybe we
try
need to
a
give them
Premier
a second
Inn.
chance.
Yeah, we were like, oh no, always a Travelodge, always got a wet room, and
No.
the near my parents is all right. But then we have been to some dodgy Travelodges.
Yeah, the one in Slough was brutal.
Oh, the one in Slough was like the worst
Oh,
hotel
my God.
experience we've had in a while. Their idea of like a double bed was literally a camp bed and a normal bed. And I was like,
Ooh.
Yeah.
in the accessible room, it was like twin beds that you can put together, but it wasn't even twin beds. I was like, what am I? Why have I paid for an actual bed and you're giving me a camp bed? That's ridiculous.
Yeah.
And then my mum and dad had to swap their room because their bathroom was like dodgy. So I was like,
Yeah, your mum and dad's bathroom looked like someone been murdered.
was well dodgy.
To be fair,
So-
we stayed in one in Southampton in a Travelodge, and it was like that. They'd even like it was bad. Like, we've got nothing wrong with people. Like, I think there was a lot of homeless people staying there, which is absolutely fine. But because of this, they'd like sellotaped all the doors so they couldn't actually shut. You know, where like some of them are card. They were like card scans, but they'd like sellotape them so they couldn't shut. I was like, and they were like proper fire doors, and I was like, I'm sure that's not allowed. And there were so many things wrong with this like hotel.
They made us go through the underground car park and they called it disabled access.
Because the lift they had for the main entrance was not working. I was like, that's not good enough. Like, you can't just say it's not working. And because all the other way, like, if I wasn't with Alex wouldn't be able to get in because the doors were really heavy and they were none like automatic doors.
Yeah.
Nothing. It was like just a nightmare. It was awkward even for us. So
It is funny the amount of like clangers that you have.
Yeah.
Like we had one.
This is proper like disability chat, but it's the chat we love.
Yeah.
Like, talking about the dodgy nose.
Oh no! We have to say. We have to say, so we recently went to Turkey in sort of October time last year, and got there, and they basically double booked the accessible room. So I had to spend 2 days in a standard room. Bear in mind, I was fuming, but I was like, there's not a lot we can do. So we've got into, the non-accessible room was actually all right. Like you could kind of get away with sticking a balcony chair in the shower, and then you could just do your business and move on. But then we got into the accessible room, and so I've looked at the bathroom, and it's like your standard wet room with the seat and everything. And then I'm sitting there and I'm going, but the seat is backed on to the shower controls. So if I sit on the seat, my back is to the shower controls. What? How does that work?
The accessible room was less accessible than the standard room. It was just bizarre. And then the compensation that they gave us for double booking the room, which I just do not get how these rooms get double books, because you can't book them on the website. You often have to email or ring. Surely you sit there and you book the room out like you would any other room on an automated system, gets automatically booked out. So the fact that they don't do that means the rooms then get double booked. But it does not make sense to me.
It didn't help that the lady that confirmed our booking via email was sat behind the desk, trying to hide from us.
She was sat in the
I know it's you.
Yeah. She didn't.
Don't hide. We know who it is.
Yeah.
So their compensation was a meal in the restaurant that you would usually have to pay for, because it was like an all-inclusive hotel. So it was a meal in the restaurant you usually have to pay for. And when we got there, the special table, like the bigger table for family groups, is up 3 steps. No handrail, just up 3 steps. It's like on a platform. And I was literally like, are you stupid?
Yeah.
Like, I get this is the special table, and it was a really nice table. It was set off from everyone else, like it was nice. But in this instance, would you not just make a larger table down and then put some of the single tables on the platform? Like, there was just no logic in it. But a lot of them, obviously English is their second language, which is completely understandable. And we just didn't want to push it too far so that we didn't get to enjoy our holiday.
Yeah.
So,
I mean, the funniest one has to be, so going back to the wet room in the accessible room. So I'm in the shower and I basically pushed back to like reposition myself on the chair. And as I've done that, I've heard crunch, followed by snap, followed by clang, and I was like, and then I've looked, and the grab rail has literally just come off the wall. I've been like, Gina, you might need to come in and give me a hand. She was like, what was that noise? I was like, come look at this.
I was expecting him to be on the floor, to be honest, so it's a bit of a relief, but yeah.
Although the other thing as well, and Alex, I don't know whether you can appreciate this, we're going on a very big tangent, and we will go on to a separate topic in a minute.
20 minutes, and we've probably been talking about hotels the whole time.
So, why is it? Have you travelled to Europe at all, Alex?
I did Bruges and like Guernsey when I was like 13.
Okay, so hopefully in Bruges you might have experienced it. Why is it European disabled toilets always have a really weirdly shaped toilet seat? Like, I don't get it. I really don't get it. Like, it will be one where there's like a huge gap in the middle, but the problem is, it's like climbing Mount Everest just to get onto the toilet.
I've got a bit of a theory. I mean, I had one of my best friends at uni, I don't really speak to him much anymore, was an Estonian bloke. And he genuinely went to me. It was like introduction at uni, and we went for a coffee. We got talking geekery in the introduction, and that, when you sort of joining uni, is grounds for friendship and therefore coffee. And he went, "You're the first disabled person I've seen in real life." I'm like, mate. And he went, "Yeah, we don't really have them." And I went,
They're locked away. They're locked
Yeah.
away.
you must.
You must.
Yeah.
Every Estonian's just perfectly able-bodied.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It was funny. But what I will say about, like, Europeans, and my barber's an Italian, and I love this for him, like, from him. There's no airs and graces with them, and I love it. You know, I find a lot of the time, you know, British establishments, especially if they're not confident with disability, will really, like, beat around the bush and try and, like,
Yeah.
Politically correct.
get you out the door, be
Yeah.
politically correct. Whereas this bloke's just like, you're right, mate, sit down, cut your hair, fuck off. Like,
Yeah.
Or they'll figure a way round.
Yeah.
So like, although we had a few issues with that hotel, like they were on it to support us whenever they could. And the whole time we were there, they had these stair lifts around the pool, and every
They didn't
single
work.
day there was maintenance guys looking at these lifts
Yeah.
to try and make sure they worked efficiently, because it took about 5 attempts and you got stuck on one. Because they insisted, they kind of insisted that he use these, because Charlie can do stairs, so we had just been coping, because he didn't need to use the stairs too much.
The problem was,
but yeah, they have people on there, so I think I get what you mean, Alex. And like they're just like, they don't care, they will make it work.
they're very
it's
much
just quite interesting that they're not as forward in their accessibility, but actually in their approach, in their attitude, they can be.
A lot of the time in foreign countries, it's very much will find a way, and also they don't make you feel weird about it. Where often the times, if Brits try and do that, it's like, don't make me feel like a child. I
wouldn't say Turkey was like one of the most accessible places we've been to, but the thing is with us is we never fully plan either. But so like we go with the flow, and obviously this was like an all-inclusive, like the area was beautiful, but it wasn't like every restaurant you went into had a disabled toilet. Quite a few of them did, or like we just make do and mend. But as we say, like the staff was amazing. The one thing that was great was whenever we got in a taxi, I'm so used to like Uber drivers literally just sitting there and waiting for you to get your stuff out, or they're already booking the next job. So I was like grabbing, because we've got his front wheel attachment, I'm like grabbing it all out of the car, shoving it all on the side of the road. And I usually just shove it all on the side of the road, get Charlie out, and then they can drive off. They can do what they want.
Yeah.
And the bloke was like, calm down, it's fine. And he got out and he was helping me get the stuff out. Like, and he was literally like chill and chatting to his mate in the taxi rank. Like, and I was like, okay, this is so much nicer. Like, it is interesting that despite the accessibility not quite being there, and maybe it is because we're tourists as well, the attitude is there.
Yeah. No, it was funny. He was very much like, no, I'm here to do this. Let me do it. And
he was like shouting at me to like, not stop getting the stuff out the car, because that's his job as a taxi driver. He gets the stuff out the car, whereas an Uber driver or even a taxi driver here often just sits there and waits for you to get the stuff out.
My personal favourite, don't scratch my car. Don't scratch my car. I'm not going to scratch your car.
Yeah, we've had that a lot.
They do the ramp. Like, we've had wheelchair accessible taxis, and they do the ramp, and they're like, don't have a clue actually how to
use the ramp.
Or like, the one time they were like not gonna use the seatbelt on Alex. I was like, does he not need the belt? And they were like, oh, I don't know how to use that. So in the end, like, I did it in the end, and I strapped Alex in because we'd been in loads. I do know how to do it, and it's not that difficult. I was thinking, how do you not know? Like, surely that's your job to know. Yeah. But they were just so blasé, like, oh no, we just don't strap wheelchairs. And I was like, I'm pretty sure you have to.
Yeah. Oh my god, like the WAVs where you go into the back and then there's the big bolt thing. Is that what you're on about?
Yeah.
That's crazy. Because like in London cabs, they don't like strap you down, but it's because it's pretty...
Yeah, it's flat, isn't it?
It's pretty flat, pretty sturdy, but a WAV's quite different.
Yeah, this bloke was like, oh, I'm borrowing this off my mate and I've never used it before. I was thinking, well, we booked a wheelchair, and the car was a wheelchair accessible like van, but that was in Edinburgh. Do you remember?
I do, yeah.
And he was just like, and then he was like, okay, I'll strap you in loads now, because I was like, you do need to strap him in, because Alex's brakes aren't particularly great either, and he was literally like flying around.
To be fair though, that taxi company, that was on the way back. The way there, the bloke was really, really good. And I really,
that's interesting.
I say about, the British having airs and graces, not the Scottish. The Scottish were really good.
I just find it funny how you can find such different approaches in like the same company.
Yeah.
Like, it's mad, isn't it? You'd think they all go through the same kind of training, but I think sometimes there's no training.
No.
So it depends on the person and their own experiences or their own attitude, because they've not had the like group training of like they'll all be kind of on the same page. It just depends on which person you get. But how did you find Edinburgh? Like we're on. This is like a travel podcast now.
Yeah, I will shift it in a minute. I will shift it.
It's at the top of the UK. You can sit on it. You can sit on that.
We drove past it so many times.
I wonder what that strange place was.
Yeah.
With a castle.
It was very hilly. I know that sounds ridiculous, but Alex has an add-on Smooth, which normally does pretty well, but even that was struggling. So then I was having to do the bulk of the pushing, which is all right. But when they're like that, then you're like, oh my god, I'm gonna die at the top of this. I'm not particularly I'm not really into fitness. Like I do like walks. I do long walks with a dog and things like that's kind of my fitness. But I was dead.
Yeah,
like, can we get a taxi?
We made some very rookie mistakes in Edinburgh. It was our first trip sort of away, like travelling away as a couple. And basically our theory was fairly sound. It was a fairly sound theory. Was I'd rented an electric wheelchair when we'd gone to festivals and stuff. So the theory was we get to Edinburgh and then I'll rent an electric wheelchair and that'll be that. And then I'll just use that for the weekend. Finding somewhere where you can rent an electric wheelchair in Edinburgh was significantly challenging. So I ended up resorting to, at this point we couldn't really find anything, so I ended up resorting to getting a mobility scooter. Now, the problem with that is they're quite big, and Edinburgh is quite quaint, meaning I can't really like get out of the mobility scooter and just wander around the shop. So it was very much like, I'm stuck now, and this is what it is. But then on the flip side of that as well, the way you pick it up, and literally as I'm picking it up, he was like, oh, by the way, you know that you can't take this on public transport. And I was like,
It was pissing it down with rain, so we ended up walking back to the hotel. I've got the wheelchair's drenched, we're drenched. It wasn't, I think, like, I'd like to do Edinburgh again just because I think we made some mistakes, but I find it quite funny, like, people say Edinburgh's so beautiful and they fall in love with it, and it's like, it is a beautiful city, but it's interesting sometimes, as like from the disabled community, it's not somewhere I would rush back to just because
but then
when you face those accessibility changes, it affects your view on the...
Yeah, it's similar to our experience. So we had a bit of a hit and miss experience of Amsterdam, because Amsterdam, trying to find an accessible toilet or an accessible restaurant was practically impossible. But then also, I've got a friend who's also got cerebral palsy, uses a wheelchair, and she loves it. She's always there. And I'm like, what am I missing?
Yeah, what
did I miss?
Because that's the thing. It's not like a toilet's one thing, because we just go into the hotels and that was actually quite fine. But the restaurants, like, we couldn't find anywhere to even get into because there was a massive step in, or there was no toilet once you got in there, and then you have to think about, well, you can't have too many drinks with your meal or whatever. Yeah. So
it's just pain in the ass, isn't it? But we did enjoy Edinburgh. I think with us, we're kind of brute force and ignorance a lot of it, which probably isn't great. But with like Alex being in his chair, there was like shops that had a lot of steps, but I'm quite used to like bumping up and down steps. So for us, like we just kind of did it. Anyway.
We did have the Smooth.
Yeah, and the Smooth was a godsend.
Did help. I mean, I'm very lucky that Chloe is very hands-on, and I'm incredibly lucky to have Chloe in a multitude of ways and reasons.
I'll start blushing.
But the
How's that ego, Chloe?
No, this is good. It's probably horrible.
but yeah, the thing I found with Edinburgh is because I had to turn my smooth talk up. There'd be ways that, like, you need it to be quite powerful to get up the hills.
Yeah.
But then there's no, like, in between. You're either going up or you're going down. And I remember, like, thinking I was some sort of electrified bowling ball. And I was like, mate, please move out of the way.
I hate that. I hate that.
Absolutely gone, because there's no way I'm stopping.
Yeah, because I have the same with my front wheel attachment. Like, if I'm getting up a steep hill, I need to get momentum going. So, like, the amount of times people are like, do you know what? I'm just going to step across him.
Yeah.
I'm just going to step, and I'm like, my choices are hit you at full velocity and take you with me, or stop, but then start rolling back down the hill.
Yeah, exactly. People don't get it. Like, able-bodied people can just stop. Like, I know that from being able-bodied. Like, but being with Alex, like, Alex cannot just stop, because then it's hard to carry on, or he'll roll back, and it's just, people don't get it, do they?
No.
I fell into a nice Texan man, which was we had a bit of a bonding experience there.
Alex came away with his number.
Yeah.
He's been flirting with all of them.
On your you mentioned earlier, like, obviously about British people being quite, like, politically correct and being quite careful about what they say. What is your view on, like, the whole thing with the social media content creator space being quite, I'm going to use it because I don't know any other way to say it, but, like, woke, in terms of being very, like, wanting to pick apart every situation. What is you guys' view on that as an interable couple?
Chloe, take this.
No, go on.
God, I've put them up against it now.
No, you've really not. I have an opinion, but I can't.
Here we go.
I will explain this opinion to you two.
Why everyone else is listening?
Yeah, if this gets us cancelled, I'm sorry for the sake of the TikTok. I don't know, in terms of, like, I've never really come fully to terms with the disabled community, because you meet wonderful people. You do, like, we've met some wonderful, you two, our friend in Ireland, Neve, she's wonderful.
But we've got some lovely...
you do meet wonderful people, but especially, like, before Sticks and Copper, before Chloe, I met some right individuals that just want to play, disabled top trumps.
Yeah, that's a big thing. My disability is worse than yours.
Yeah,
that whole thing. Yeah,
I can do more than you, and I've got this disability. I get this PIP payment, and I've got this mobility car, and I'm thinking, mate, I can't even like what.
What are we doing here? Like, what is it? What are we trying to achieve?
And do you find, Alex, like, it's either that or it's the flip side of, like, well, I don't get that, and, like, oh, you're privileged to get that as a disabled person.
Honestly, it was quite funny, because way before Chloe, like, literally a couple of years before Chloe, I was talking to a lady, not talking to a lady, but I was talking to a local fellow disabled female, and
the amount of disclaimers in there.
Yeah, not chatting her up, just having a conversation.
Dude, you weren't with her at the time. I'm sure it's allowed.
I know, right? Let's feel this.
No, I really wasn't.
Right, carry on.
And I was going through the ringer a bit myself, and my body was absolutely done in, because I'd done it to myself, and I was saying to her, like, it's difficult because there's my body hurting because disability, and there's my body hurting because my mental health was shot and I'd done some stupid things. You know, I'll let the audience put that together. And she went, well, I can't eat food. I can only eat liquidized food. And I was like, crap.
What's that going to do anything though?
Yeah, but it was just like...
But then it makes you feel guilty for your own pain, which I hate. Like, everyone experiences something differently, and it goes in the disabled community and beyond that. Like, I think there's a lot of almost guilt tripping of like, oh, I've been through worse than you, and you're like, you know, you're making a big deal of it. It's like, yeah, but I'm experiencing this now, and that's how I'm coping with it, and that's how I'm grieving or coping with those feelings. And yeah, I might be worse than acting worse than you, but it's not as bad as you or whatever. But it's just how I'm experiencing it. It's like guilt tripping and basically saying you can't moan about that because I've got it worse. And do you find, like, out of curiosity, Alex, me and Charlie were talking about it the other day, I find in the cerebral palsy community particularly, there's a lot of like, almost like you've not tried hard enough, and like, you know, almost you can cure your cerebral palsy if you try hard enough, particularly when you're younger. And I think like it's quite toxic because it almost makes it sound like, oh, because you didn't put the physio in when you were younger, that's why you can't walk now. And it's like, well, actually, no. Charlie was told at a young age, like, he wouldn't be able to walk independently, or if he was, it was only going to be a couple of steps. And like, yeah, that could help in some situations, but the amount of pressure and the amount of physical like toll that took on his body isn't worth it for the sake of using a wheelchair and having so much more independence by using the wheelchair. And it's like, when you use your chair, your hands are free, you can go round a lot easier on your own. Whereas if you're using your frame, your legs ache quicker, like you get more uncomfortable, and you can't use your hands because you need to hold on to the frame for balance. And like, do you find, Alex, the same? Like, it's a little bit toxic, or can be?
I find it a lot toxic, and I'm coming at the stage of like, I'm learning that people are nice. I didn't come in this community feeling particularly accepted, which is ironic because it's not like each of us gets a special card that says you are now you're now a disabled member. It's weird because it's I had that from family. I've got some very old school Welsh family that one of them literally said to my parents, do you think you should get him a pogo stick to improve his balance? And that's a genuine thing. But it was a case of what... Yeah. I'll just let that slip in.
It's just the thought of Alex trying to do that, yeah.
I'm sorry, but a pogo stick is bloody hard anyway. Try having like balance issues and not like your brain doesn't communicate with your legs. What?
Alex can't stand unaided, so very well. Like, even if he tried to stand up now without anything, he couldn't. So I don't know how they need to be on a pogo stick.
The way I describe cerebral palsy is like a leaning tower of Pisa. They just slowly start going.
Yeah, and the thing is, I don't know about you, Gina, but when Alex is walking, which, to be fair, he walks like around the house and uses his wheelchair outside, but I can kind of tell when he's going to like fall before he can tell. Sometimes like, I can see a situation that he's in and I'm like, oh, he's leaning, and he doesn't have any sense of that he's leaning.
Yeah. Charlie will lean a lot. Like the two wheels of the frame have come off the floor, and I'm like, is he about to go? Is he aware that his wheels are off the floor and he's currently not supported by anything?
Oh no! The other day I leant to my board and nearly fell out my chair.
Yeah, literally. And also, like, do you get it where he's stood sometimes and slowly he just starts sinking because his legs are starting to give way? Yeah. Alex doesn't look impressed by this conversation. Sorry, Alex.
Alex is like, why you got to out me like this?
He'll do the washing up. I make him do the washing up, but sometimes he'll be like this, and I'm like, "Do you want to sit down?"
Yeah.
He's like, "Oh, I didn't realise."
Just slowly getting sinking. Yeah. Yeah.
Look, we try our best,
Yeah.
but no, it is that whole thing. Like,
I want to hear Alex's rest of the story about the pogo stick.
yeah, wait. So hold on, continue.
Well, to be fair, there wasn't an awful lot. Like, it was a huge family dilemma at the time. And I don't really know what else they wanted me to do. Because, I'd been all around the Midlands for physio, for, different tests.
You've had
Admittedly, I've done all the surgery, I've done everything. And admittedly, I've not been like some of these people that have gone, to all the London hospitals. Literally, I think the furthest I went was, I don't know.
You live in Kent.
Yeah.
I think, I'm trying to just put his hand up saying, like, he's been...
But then I can't really say shit because I've been to America. So
and also, but I was speaking to my colleague about this as well, and we were saying part of that is massively, like, your privilege as well, like not saying
we
this whole
said
conversation about privilege,
well,
but it is your privilege. Like, Alex, you're from the Midlands, so you went to all of the local Midlands hospitals, and yes, there are some specialists down in London, but like Charlie got to go to London hospitals because of where he lives, and it's also like he was in a position where his family were in the position to fundraise. They didn't just pay to go to America and have the operation done. They fundraised for years and did a lot of hard work to get to America to have the SDR operation because they were refused it in the UK. And like even access to the physio, a lot of people, you would be relying on the NHS to supply that, and particularly nowadays, like that's really difficult. And it's like trying to say that someone didn't work hard enough to be able to be more able, quotation marks, of like with their cerebral palsy, then you kind of gave in basically, is like absolutely ridiculous, because A, your body's different, and B, it's the access to the support that you can get.
I mean, I'm lucky because literally, like, the Leicester Royal Infirmary and also the General Hospital in Leicester are, have done me incredibly well, and I would never say I was lacking in care. I wasn't. I had the regular physio. I had access to all that. I had access to orthopedics. They were. At the time, I didn't think they were great. I thought it was really annoying.
Yeah.
But, it's only when you look back at it and you go, actually, I'm not doing too badly here.
And I think you've got to put yourself first. Like, we were talking, like, Alex has had one foot turned and tendons cut and things like that. But like I said, we've had this chat. Like, he wouldn't want another surgery.
No, I'm not doing it again
because he found that although it was helpful, that he doesn't want anything else, which is fine. And I think that's that pressure though that he should do that, or like
you've got to do everything you can to try and help yourself.
Like what you were saying,
It's that whole thing as well of like, sorry to cut you off, but it's that whole thing with like you adapt and overcome. So like you have that surgery, you come back from that surgery and you find a way that works. If that way works and you're happy, like people always ask me like, why don't you use my walking frame more? And I'm like, as Gina said, I find that using my chair gives me more mobility and more, I'm able to do different stuff rather than trying to use my walking frame and falling over every 5 minutes. So like it's just that whole thing that people can't wrap their heads around. I've got a system that works, leave me the fuck alone.
I guess it also leans into that whole conversation about like mobility aids, and actually like wheelchairs are often seen as kind of giving in, but actually it's freedom, because you're not pushing through pain barriers to continue walking or to continue using walking frames or sticks or whatever it may be, to keep yourself like from using a wheelchair. Actually, that restricts you a lot more than when you can use a wheelchair and then you're not in the same pain. You've got a lot more independence, and like people just don't see that, and it's because of maybe they're not in that situation. But yeah, it just baffles me that there's so much within the kind of cerebral palsy community where you're all kind of fighting for the same thing, to have a life that it works for you and that you can enjoy your life. Like, that's the goal, right? You just want to enjoy your life. It doesn't matter.
You know, like most people.
So it's mad that it's almost pitting against each other for, oh, well, no, you'd enjoy your life more if you walked. No, I'm quite happy, thanks.
Yeah, and it's the same thing like you were saying, like Alex has sometimes, because he can walk, but he can't walk unaided and he is quite unsteady at times. So sometimes like he falls over a lot, and as he's getting older you're injuring yourself more and more by doing that. So now he has like, well, still don't use your chair inside, but because we live in a house and that would be pretty tricky,
challenging.
But like we've spoke about, like when we want a bungalow and like putting things in place going forward, possibly, because
there's a debate happening.
No.
I didn't agree to a bungalow.
That was a full conversation just between your eyes then.
Alex wants a house, but it's not sensible to have a house, is it?
Bro,
we've had this conversation.
Houses are overrated anyway.
Why? Honestly, I mean,
get everything on one level.
I understand that, but
you got to remember, you got to be ready for when she gets old as well. So like,
you're not going to be able to carry a child downstairs, are you?
Get a papoose.
A what?
A papoose.
I still don't trust you.
What the? I don't even know what one of those is. What is a
Baby
papoose?
carrier.
Oh, okay. You should have just said baby carrier.
Yeah, no.
Yeah. Or you just fit a slide in, right? Just put a slide in the house and be fine.
Yeah.
Can I just not to fight Chloe's corner, bro? What are you gonna do if one of the kids injures themselves? You got to try and get up those stairs as fast as you possibly can.
Yeah, exactly. It's not very sensible. And then I said, like, when
I mean, I don't mean to out you. I mean, like, I know bro code's a thing, but
oh, it's alright.
No, I've got nothing against bungalows. Well,
We stayed in a lovely bungalow. That wasn't a granny's bungalow, was it? That was beautiful.
which one?
In Norfolk.
Oh yeah, no.
That's what I imagine when I think of it. Not an old grandma's one.
I mean,
Can I say?
live in a bungalow.
I actually, So with like me and Alex, Midlandsers. That's not a word.
Midlanders.
We're Midlanders, right? I would say that bungalows were few and far between where I was from, and it was always like older people living there because of accessibility and because of like not needing to do stairs. Like, I didn't know many people in the bungalows, but there was a couple of bungalows at the end of my road, but I think they were like council bungalows. I have no idea. But I didn't see loads of bungalows. Whereas here, there's loads of bungalows. They're in popular demand, even with people who don't, which is annoying.
It drives me nuts.
People who don't have mobility issues or disabilities want a bungalow. Like, a lot of families are after bungalows so that they can basically build on it, and you get more space from a bungalow. But which is a bit annoying because for some people it's not a choice. It's literally just essential. But there is some nice ass bungalows down here, Alex. Like,
trust me,
it's much more. I don't know why.
It's trendy down here, mate.
I don't know why, but there seems to be so many more bungalows down here and nice bungalows.
I have genuinely yet to see a nice bungalow that isn't multi-million. Well, not, but up there.
Well,
yeah.
They are expensive.
They're luxury. They're luxury, and that's the issue. They're luxury, but they're essential for a lot of people. But then, as I say, they're in demand at the minute for like just families and people who want a family. I think, and as I say, it's because of the space. You can build upwards, you can build outwards.
Yeah, I think the thing that we really lucked out on was before I was even around, Mum and Dad had a bungalow. So luckily, I've never had that issue of shit. How do we get accessible housing? Because it literally is. Although mine is what you call isn't it a goblin bungalow where it's got an upstairs?
Oh yeah.
But my parents' office and their bedrooms upstairs, so I don't really I have no need to go up there. So I'm like, hey, you guys crack on. I'm going to stay down here.
For us, I see, like, if we wanted a house, the conversation took a tangent. But if we wanted a house, we would have to have a lift. But then you're relying on the lift working. I mean, it's a bit different for, I think, household lifts because you would have like on-call people. But we would have to have like what they call like through the floor lifts.
Yeah, I think the thing is like everyone goes, get a stair lift, and I'm like, first of all, I'm with Alex there. I'm like, I don't want to look like Deirdre, so I don't really want a stair lift ideally. But then also on the flip side, they're like, oh yeah, get a stair lift and have like a wheelchair at both ends, and I'm like, all that takes is Gina doing washing and moves the wheelchair and forgets to move it back.
Yeah.
And then I'm like, small. I mean, she does that to me already. Like, I'll say to Gina, can you swap my frame with my wheelchair? And then I'm just like sat on the toilet, like, can I have some form of equipment, please?
You can just wander off. Like, move the frame out of the way and wander off.
I do that with Alex's sticks. So he has a couple, 2 sticks downstairs and 2 sticks upstairs. So wherever he is, he's got sticks. But sometimes I forget, and I don't do it that much. Your mum
My
and
dad
yeah,
is the worst for that.
And Alex gets somewhere, and he's like, "Can someone help? I've got nothing to go. I can't."
I'm stranded.
Yeah,
It is. Yeah.
Well, that's the thing. Like, if you had a stair lift, I don't remember actually what, but the wheelchair would have to stay in the same place until you needed it.
Yeah. So like the wheelchair could not move from that place because I'd have to be able to transfer over to it.
Yeah. Crazy.
And it's
Crazy.
just
I don't even know what the point we were making before we started talking about bungalows.
We ended up with the house. I'm intrigued to know, actually, Chloe, what's like been the biggest thing that you've learned since you and Alex have been dating?
Gravy on chips is superior to anything.
Oh,
yes.
Oh, no.
Yes, Alex,
No. I mean, I was going down the disability route, but now we're going to open a separate can of worms.
Alex talks funny. No, I don't know. I think just being able-bodied, although I have been around like disability a lot as a kid, I think, where some other people haven't. I have been exposed to it, but like my mum's disabled, but she has got a physical disability, but it's not like, I find it harder because she's got like a chronic illness. So some days she's like bedbound and some days she's can get up and walk around. So it's hard. But I think it's just constantly thinking about accessibility, that when we were especially first dating, it almost, you just kind of expect it, and then something you realise that it's not there for a lot of places. And also I think what was hard was other people's perceptions. I found that hard because I find it hard that people seem to think if you're disabled that you can't be a good partner, and that whole like thing, and that like used to really upset me, but now I just kind of don't really care because at the end of the day, people that know us, like my family and Alex's family, they see, like, everyone says we're like 2 peas in a pod. Like, we are, like, I know it's cringy to say, but like, we literally fit together so well. We always say that we make a functional human together because we're just scrambled. But
sometimes I wonder how you got to where you are with your memory. So I think that's how we balance out.
Oh, what? Because I have really bad memory. Yeah. I was going to say with Chloe's point, though, it's like, it's insulting and degrading when you have to validate your relationship every time someone like finds out you're with someone who's disabled, because they immediately think like, oh, that's an unbalanced relationship, and you have to almost validate your relationship or why you're together every time. It gets exhausting. But I mean, I think obviously we've been together almost 6 years. You've been together for 4 years, so we're probably in a similar place of like, now it's just like, fuck off.
Yeah,
he's a great boyfriend. Fuck off.
Yeah, exactly. If people, that's their attitude, then I honestly think that I don't want to like talk to you very much. I know that's like arrogant to say, but I'm thinking if you really believe like disabled people, like, and you got backward views on it, like, piss off. Like, I don't need to communicate with you.
Yeah.
So
it's waste my time.
Yeah.
The only thing I get satisfaction from is those people when they realise like how much I do. Like, we had it with someone that you know. We drove down to Cornwall for a funeral, and one of the people goes, oh, like, how did you, like, bear in mind, they're like, oh, it must be nice to come down to Cornwall, get a break with Charlie because you can get support and everything else. And I'm like, okay, first red flag. Second, then they're like, so how did you guys get down here? And they're like, Gina's like, oh, Charlie drove. The sheer shock on their face. Wait, Charlie drove?
Mm.
What? Wait, how? It's just like, and that's the only satisfaction I get out of it. Is like, okay, now I get the joy of like tearing apart your argument.
Proving you wrong.
I had that with a builder. We've recently had like an outhouse built. My mum and dad's, and it just so happened to be leg day at the gym, and this particular labourer goes to the gym that I go to, knows the people I work out with, but we never really crossed paths in the gym. And he said, "Oh mate, you going to the gym today?" And I said, "Oh yeah mate, like, yeah, today's the day." I said, "Oh, it's leg day today." Man's world crumbled in front of him as he tried to work out how I could do leg day.
Yeah. I do, and it's always a bit funny, like when you're on the leg press, almost like watching to see people almost looking over in confusion of like, this guy's getting on the leg press.
Yeah, literally.
Like,
we do go to the gym sometimes, like together, but rare. We normally go swimming because I like swimming. I'm a bit of a
and to be fair,
a swim body.
I don't really go to the gym for the gym.
No.
The gym is a more sociable thing than a fitness thing for me, which is awful, but it's true.
It's
I'm so conflicted.
I think there's a lot of pressure on, like, if you go to the gym, you've got to have a certain goal or like a certain interest, like, and it's like, no, you can just go to the gym and do exercise for the sake of doing the exercise and staying fit or staying healthy. Like, you don't have to be losing weight, you don't have to be doing it just to have a goal. Like,
to the point where I had a t-shirt made to stop people staring at me that literally says the name of my personal trainer, and then underneath it just says accessible marketing.
That's quite good. Hey, that's quite good.
That's quite clever.
Yeah.
But no, as I say, you went into the gym when we first got together.
No.
And now you're worse than me.
Yeah. No.
To be fair, I used to be like a bit of a gym body, and then I don't know, I just kind of fell out of love with it. I know that sounds really like thing. I just got a bit lazy, to be honest. And then I say lazy, like I love walking the dog. Like that's my piece. Like I just go walking for miles, and I just like taking a steady walk really, and just me and the dog.
Me and Alex sitting there like, that's not very inclusive, is it? Like,
that's, to be fair, that's
I'll take Alex with me if he wants to come. He doesn't.
So Alex is like, no, I'll stay and play PlayStation, thanks.
Yeah, exactly.
I'll put him on the lady.
We're getting a bit of an insight into you two now. Okay. Wait, did he just say we're a lot kinky? Now you got to clarify that.
No, just because she said it. We're a bit kinky, joking. So
I'm just conscious that we've been going for like over an hour, so I thought I'd hit you with the last question, which I ask every guest, and I didn't actually pre-warn you, so I apologise. Is what's one piece of politically correctness that you really strongly agree with or disagree with?
Go on.
You can both go, by the way.
Yeah, go on, Chloe. Ladies first.
Oh, I was going to say this whole thing that disabled is a bad word.
Yeah, I'm there with that. Yeah.
Just because, like, everything now, people are like, oh, accessible, which is fine. Like, there's nothing wrong with the term accessible. Or, like, the word handicapped. I hate that word. And I know that it's used in America, but, like, my uncle even said it the other day, and I was like, you don't use that term anymore.
Well, how old are you? Dinosaurs still exist?
Yeah, exactly. Like, because he was basically talking about how his friend's handicapped, and I was like, no, disabled, and he was like, no, I say handicapped. I was like, no, we don't say that anymore.
Yeah.
I was like, they haven't said that in years.
Yeah.
But that would probably be mine. People are always like, oh, don't say disabled, say differently abled.
Yeah.
Or superhero,
it's so
or
interesting.
some other bullshit.
It's so interesting because it's like, it's mostly non-disabled people, but it's also some disabled people who have that view. But it's that internalized ableism within society that thinks the word disabled or having a disability or being disabled is negative. And it's like, no, it's not. And that's what we need to change, the narrative of being disabled opposed to the actual word. It's the narrative around being disabled. Like, yes, you can be disabled and proud. You can be disabled and happy. You can be disabled and confident. Like, disabled isn't a bad word, as you just said.
Yeah, exactly.
Retweet.
Yeah. What's yours, Emma?
I don't know. So, sort of, piggybacking off your point, Claire, I always find it quite funny because every couple of months there seems to be a new word on the disabled toilet. And but one thing I would say, and I don't know whether it's not politically correct or not, is to the disabled community as a whole. You know, I've had issues where I wouldn't necessarily say that I'm that proud yet of my disabled identity. Will I ever be? Who knows? As I say, meeting Chloe and, you know, Sticks and Copper is really the first time I've properly engaged with whatever this community is. You know, I'm still learning it, you know. Am I particularly proud to be a disabled man? No. Would I give you 10 different things about my personality before I mention the disability? Yes. But that doesn't make me any less disabled, and it doesn't make me any less willing to have the conversation. I hope that in a couple of years' time, 6 months' time, I can go, I am a proud disabled man. But in the meantime, don't count me as the enemy. Don't, you know, lecture me. Don't, you know, I'm here, I'm learning, I'm growing, you know, I'm trying to engage.
Yeah, like Sticks and Copper was a big thing for, I know it quickly, but like was a big thing Alex wanted to do just to kind of, he's always kind of ignored the disability, I know, in a way, and he actually wanted to kind of engage with it, and he was like, can you do it with me? So I was like, okay. But I think it's good that everyone's learning at the end of the day. We all get things wrong, don't we? I think that's an important thing to say.
I think it's like if you're not proud of your disability, like you can't be part of the disabled community, and it's like you can still be part of the disabled community and learning and growing yourself. And if it's something you don't even mention about yourself, it's like 10 personality traits and disability isn't part of that, then that's fine, because you're still a person. You're just also a disabled person, and that's fine.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah.
I mean, I know I said last question, but I'm just intrigued. Chloe, what's your view on that whole thing with Alex obviously being in the middle of his journey? Have you got any how did you feel knowing that Alex isn't quite at that point yet?
I think I find it hard that I think I say this to Alex all the time, that he should be proud of the things he has achieved, like disability or not. Like he should just be proud of things he's achieved in life. Because I think everyone has different challenges in life, whether you're disabled or not. Like we all go through things that, you know, not saying one person's worse than the other, but like everyone should have that sense of, actually, I did that. And like, you know, I think that's where you've got to change your viewpoint on it and being like, I did that anyway. Like, it doesn't matter that you're disabled, but you did things that, you know, you've got a degree, that it's very hard getting a degree. You know, it's not the end of the world if you don't have a degree either, but you wanted a degree, you went and got a degree. That wasn't because you're disabled. That's just because you worked hard to get a degree. And I think you need to change that focus a bit. And I find that hard sometimes because I'm like, just be proud of yourself. Alex can never, ever, ever, like, I'm probably guilty of it too, to be fair, but you can never actually just be like, actually, I did that, like, go me.
Yeah. I'm just as bad, but then, as we often say at my work, take the wins where you can get them.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, exactly.
And I didn't mean to turn this into a therapy session for Alex, so I do apologise.
Honestly, I could go on for a while about it, and I won't. It's just I'm willing to have the conversation. A lot of it still confuses the ever living whatever out of me. Like, and I'm there for learning. I will go at my own pace, and I'm open to the conversation.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Don't come at me with your high horse opinion. Just not you two, but like the community as a whole. Mm-hmm. And I would I might do this on my podcast. I would love to actually talk to people about what they're proud of with their disability, because the things that I'm proud of haven't got anything to do with disability. And I would love to actually sit down with people and go, right, why are you proud to be a disabled human individual? And I might do that in one way or another. I just haven't quite worked out how.
But I think the interesting thing with that is I was just thinking about it, and like it's that whole thing of what we've achieved is almost that much more impressive because of the limitations or the boundaries that we have to get past to achieve that thing. So, like for example, getting a job as your average Joe is fairly challenging, but it was also fairly straightforward. Add a disability in the mix, that gets 12 times harder. So it's that is the thing where, for me, my disability comes into a lot of stuff, because it's like, yeah, but you could literally, like, it's that whole house thing again. Karen, you can walk into any house you like, providing you can afford it.
Yeah.
I can't.
Yeah.
So, like...
The same with job, like, you've had this argument, able-bodied people can have any job they want, technically, in a way. Most jobs,
I've not... I've not...
But now
Oh dear.
I've not technically signed the contract yet, but I have actually got a job.
Ooh! Yes! Well done, Alex!
Yeah.
So you can't say you're unemployed anymore.
I don't know when it will come out, but yeah,
I'll hold off till you sign the contract, don't worry.
Maybe by the time this comes out, I will have signed my contract with the BBC.
Ooh.
So we'll see, and that's a disability thing, and I'm grappling with that.
So
is that with what are they called? Oh, what's the disability arm of BBC? What's it called? Oh, they've got a whole arm for
Access.
it. No. God, that's gonna really annoy me. Right?
Ouch.
What?
Ouch.
BBC Ouch. Is it with BBC Ouch?
No, it's not. It's with BBC Radio Wales. I'm moving to Cardiff for 2 months and going to produce radio programmes.
Yes, that's like your dream,
cool.
Is it not?
Yeah.
Go on, Alex.
But it was a thing that they're doing for disabled people. So you went and we had an interview, and Alex got the job. So
yes,
wicked. Well done, bro.
Cool.
Thank you, Beth. I appreciate it.
Also, take the wins where we can get them, as I say.
So yeah, not very disabled. Well, not very proud disabled man gets a job surrounding
disability.
Disability.
Sounds like a good headline to be.
Clickbait.
Yeah. But it was lovely talking to you both.
Yeah, it's been lovely.
Yeah, definitely. Thank you so much for coming on. And it looks like it's actually worked this time. So before you do that, I always give guests a chance to plug themselves. So where can people find you before you cancel the recording?
Charlie was like, "Remove your hand." Go on, Alex.
Go and follow Sticks and Copper on Instagram and TikTok if you want to see more of us.
You don't have to.
I run a podcast called the Brennan Audio Podcast. available on all good streaming platforms where I talk to creatives about their creative processes. I also occasionally discuss disability, and we need to get you two on that too at some point.
Yeah.
But yeah, it's been lovely this morning. Thank you both so much. It's been
And
fun.
Thank you.
Thank you.
And go and put gravy on your chips.
Yeah.
Thank you so much for tuning into this week's episode of the Not Quite Podcast. Please make sure you follow us on TikTok and Instagram to get regular updates about the podcast.